on today's map, we can see very clearly the road that comes up from Jericho through the desert into Jerusalem and by the Temple Mount. We're continuing on our road, the road called Hebron, as we make our way very close to Bethlehem.
So here we are, and what it looks like is the street on the outside of our church, all the way around the church. Remember, this was not only a church, but also a monastic complex. So there was all of these different constructions around it because people wanted to come and pray in the church, even though back in the background, we had the monks praying for all the Christians. What a blessing to be here. Welcome to the third Sunday of Advent. We have made our way up the Hebron Road, which is now currently the Road 60. And what you see behind me are different ruins, which are all part of the same structure. And the structure came about, actually they rediscovered the structure after 1,000 years, more than 1,000 years of being lost, when they were building this highway to make it bigger. We're standing currently on the border between what used to be the municipality of Jerusalem and Bethlehem. And then in 1967, after the war, it was changed a little bit. But on this same spot, in the year 456, the very first church dedicated to Mary was. So we're going to go inside and see what it looks like. The most important part is right in the center, because that name means the seat of Mary. Let's go into this octagonal shaped church. We're right in front of the ancient main entrance. So what you can notice is obviously it's an octagonal shape. Remember that Christian churches often had this shape of 8 because 8 is the new creation. And so right now I'm standing in what would have been the ambulatory. An ambulatory is simply a place where pilgrims, when they come, or faithful when they come, can walk around and visit the different chapels in the church. We're actually going to go this way. We're looking straight back at Jerusalem. Bethlehem is right that way. And so here, you'll notice that I'm walking on sandy ground. And why would it be sandy? Well, when they rediscovered this church, like I said, when they were doing the construction of the highway and discovered these ruins, they also discovered some beautiful mosaics. And so to protect the mosaics until they make this into a site where people can visit, they cover them with sand so that they don't become ruined with all of the environment. So you'll notice here at this end, where this tree has sprouted, there's a rounded shape. That's an apse. So this is one of the 4 side chapels that this church had. And that's where they found mosaics here and also on the inner part. And then over on this part, if we come close, you'll notice there's columns here. And that means that this is a part where people were able to come into the church. It was another entrance coming from the north. Let's go into the center. This is the stone where tradition has it that Mary, as she was making her way to the city of David, following that star of wonder, actually Joseph following the star of wonder that was inside Mary, which was Jesus himself, as she was radiating so much glory because God himself had come to earth and had been made flesh. This was the spot where she first started to feel the birth pangs. And so she sat down. She sat down to rest. And so they were just desperate to be able to get into Bethlehem at this point. And so this is why it is called the seat of Mary. This third week of Advent is characterized as the Sunday of joy. Again, let's remember what Carol Houselander has been speaking about. And this is what she says. Joy must be allowed to gestate. Everyone should open his heart very wide to joy, should welcome it, and let it be buried very deeply in him, and he should wait the flowering of it with patience. Of course, the first ecstasy will pass, but because in real joy Christ grows in us, the time will come when joy will put forth shoots, and the richness and sweetness of the person who rejoiced will be Christ's flowering. We must never forget that it is the Holy Spirit that sows Christ, this Christ seed in us. And the spirit of wisdom, light, and truth is given to us in countless ways. For example, through books, through the spoken word, through music and pictures, through almost every possible experience. Keep these Christmas songs inside, these pictures, these stories. This is a moment for joy so that we can rejoice with Mary. And let me just end by finishing up what she says in this part of her book. We ought to let everything grow in us as Christ grew in Mary. And we ought to realize that in everything that does grow quietly in us, Christ grows. We should let thoughts and words and songs grow slowly and unfold in darkness in us. If you leave a thought, a chance word, a phrase of music in your mind, growing and cherished for its proper reason, you will have the wisdom or peace or strength that was hidden in that seed. I think that's what happened to Mary. United with that joy, she was able to stand up and say, okay, Joseph, let's get to Bethlehem. During this week, during this third week of Advent, you'll be able to see again different scenes of how we actually got here, different places that Mary and Joseph saw on their way to this third stop as we take the Hebron Road and we look back over the desert. So I hope you can join us again tomorrow. Thank you for being with us. We brought our prayers here and we rejoice together with you from this spot here in the Holy Land. We're always praying for you, and God bless you.